Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, as they do help out the channel immensely. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. There's a lot to cover, as one would expect. Oh, first of all, happy June 1st to everyone out there. It says Bitcoin briefly reclaims 32,000 for the first time in 3 weeks. Yes, yesterday we were discussing how Bitcoin was at 28,000, 29,000, hit 30,200 or something other dollars during the video. It went to 31,100, something like that, somewhere around there dollars. And then after the video, it actually went up to $32,000. Of course, a lot of people were very excited, very optimistic. I believe Ethereum also ran up to $2,000 as well. It says technical analysis. Bitcoin price remains supported. $30,800 holds the key. Yes. At the time of me making this video, the cryptocurrency market has retraced a tiny bit, and I mean like a minuscule amount. It says Ethereum dips from $2,000. Why 100 SMA might spark a fresh increase. That is incorrect. There's going to be a lot of news floating around for at least the next couple of days within the cryptocurrency space, talking about bulls, talking about bears, talking about whales, talking about other things happening in the cryptocurrency market as a potential factor as to why this coin may or may not be moving up in price. But a lot of that probably will not matter, at least for the next 2 months. I will be explaining in a bit. This one says, Cardano, can Vasile's arrival on the 29th of June further Cardano's 37% rally? Yes, Cardano was I believe, one of the biggest gainers yesterday. It went up by nearly 40%. The cryptocurrency market over the last couple of hours has once again pulled back, and therefore the rest of the cryptocurrency market has also done the same. Cardano is still up, I believe, something like 23% over the last 7 days. So it is still a major improvement from where we came from before. But many altcoins are noticing that Bitcoin and Ethereum have moved down by 1%, and therefore they are currently doing the same. So today's the day that we've been talking about for a while. Stock markets went up over the last 2 days as well, as we were just talking about. Typically, 9-month historically, every time we've seen the stock market do well, the cryptocurrency market has done well as well. If the cryptocurrency markets are having a bad day, we can usually assume that the stock market has pulled back in some sort of way. Mirroring each other, the stock market had what they call a relief rally over the last 2 days, and then they started to pull back as the stock market began to close. Many stock markets futures are currently in the red and are expecting a loss when they open. The Indian stock exchange and Asian stock markets, other Asian stock markets, are also expecting a bit of a dip today as well. You might remember we spoke about this at least 3 to 4 weeks ago. I told everyone to keep their hats on or keep something on their heads, keep a leveled head about you as we moved into this situation. We had indications and news weeks ago when the stock market began to heavily fall that people were already beginning to try to price in the effects that the Federal Reserve would have when they raised interest rates, when they began what they're calling quantitative tightening, and what effect that would have on the stock market and also on the cryptocurrency market. Once again, that is today. The Federal Reserve is starting the process of paring back its $9 trillion balance sheet that ballooned in recent years in a move called QT, or quantitative tightening. Analysts from a crypto exchange and financial investment firm have conflicting opinions about whether quantitative tightening starting on the 1st of June will put an end to a decade of unprecedented growth across crypto markets. It's not just crypto markets, it is all markets. We have had a system of quantitative easing since around 2009 within the stock market. And it only accelerated a lot further in the last, exactly nearly 2 years at this point. The conflict is, there's just so much to really cover on this. The conflict actually is, as the Fed begins to reduce their balance sheet and stops the easy flow of money printing, to be completely clear as well, the Federal Reserve is not turning off their printing machine per se. They're simply slowing down the amount that is going to be printed. We will still be at an inflation rate of around 7 or 8%, but it simply will not be as strong as it was before. It's still well above the typical, air quotes, goal of 1 to 2%, but it'll still be higher than 7. They are not shutting off the money printer because they cannot, because that would be an economic disaster. However, they're going to begin tightening their economic policy in an attempt to try to lower inflation. And also, I think that's mainly their main goal. The idea is, if or now, when they begin to do this, what effect will this have on world markets, which already took a relative slight-esque, except for tech stocks, beating during the last 2 years? If the money printer turns off, will the stock market go down? Probably. If the stock market goes down, will it go down by a lot? How much are they willing to allow it to go down before they have to announce we're turning back on the money printer? Because, once again, the events of 2008, 2009 were never fixed. Every single time I said that money was simply thrown at it, this is what I meant. They had a literal money printer in the form of a computer, and this is how you typically issue debt now or issue new currencies in the future. And they simply gave this money away. It was very cheap to be able to get debt in that form as well, even more so in the last 2 years. Long story short, what effect will this have on the cryptocurrency market? The idea of Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation hasn't really panned out exactly as people thought that it would. The general idea being a lot of people who were into Wall Street or into traditional finance have scuttled their way over into our market and seem to sell whenever things look terrible for the actual economy, when normally, historically, for a long time, Bitcoin would actually move up in price. So where does that lead us? If the stock market falls down and Bitcoin is meant to be a hedge against economic disaster, will Bitcoin also go down as well? There are a lot of questions floating around right now. It appears as if the months of June and July are going to be quite trying for not only the cryptocurrency space, but also the traditional stock market as well, as, this is going to go into full effect. The Federal Reserve has announced that they're going to try to, I think they'll be doing this until around September, at which point I think they're going to re-examine the markets or their balance sheet and see exactly what they're going to do. But I myself personally do not follow what I'm saying. I'm just telling you as a preface, expect a downtrend in all markets. I think the market has been pricing this in, but when we actually get the full effect of what this is going to mean, things will fall down. I do not know if this is going to last until September, meaning the fear gripping the market. I believe there is far too much greed in every single market right now, who are still expecting that even after a multi-week bear market, that things are going to recover again at some point. But once again, today is June 1st, and this is what we've been discussing for a while. On top of that as well, the inflation rate in many different countries is very big news. Right now, it was just released, or the news just came out, that Germany's inflation rate has risen to 8.7% in May alone. This is happening across the entire world. This is why I always mention, like, it's not just simply the United States. A lot of times, people seem to be under the impression that it's only the US dollar's inflation rate that tends to be rising, and therefore that's having a gigantic knockoff effect, which it is, on the rest of the world. But do not forget, we just had news about Lebanon. I believe it was yesterday. I think it's $1 US is now nearly 30 or 40,000 of their currency. I think it's like a 30 to 40% also rise over the last couple of weeks. Turkey's currency has completely collapsed. This is happening all around the world, basically at the exact same time. I find the news I think it's difficult for humans to simply pay attention to 100 things at once. So we tend to follow one specific thing that's happening, and that tends to take all of our general focus. But the world economically is not doing well. I find a lot of the discussions that even the banks are having, or them coming out of the shadows recently talking about, well, I think Bitcoin's amazing. I think Bitcoin has a very good 10 to 15 year prospect. And it's like they're looking so far ahead because they know that something terrible is happening now, and we will be in the throes of it for quite a long period. Even the idea of, like, how likely does it seem that the Federal Reserve or any other government body, federal agency, money printing thing around the world is simply going to today, change their economic policy from what it's been from the last 70 or 80 years and trying to get things together to make sure that inflation is exactly 1% to actually help out their citizens? Extremely unlikely. Also, tying into this as well, I thought this was very on the nose. Europe's top securities regulator has warned that soaring inflation could drive investors to cryptocurrencies. Absolutely. Stressing that there is an imbalance in how each EU country deals with crypto, the regulator called for a common regulatory framework across European countries. I've made fun of that multiple times. It's the same exact thing with the United States. Why do you all have your own constitution and your own rules and laws and own tax numbers? It doesn't logically make a lot of sense. The same exact thing for the European Union. It is meant to be a union of multiple countries who do not have the same laws, who do not have the same regulations, who do not even have the same tax obligations. So it just doesn't. I understand it's meant to be more so of like an Interpol thing. And even that doesn't usually work. Like, if you're in trouble over there, they usually haven't even relayed the message that person is in trouble. But I digress. So the entire idea of a common regulatory framework within Europe is never going to work out. A lot of countries have realized very quickly what it means to have lower taxes or have an incentive for people who are in money markets to move to their country. We saw this with Portugal just a couple of days ago, announcing that they were going to be raising the cryptocurrency tax rate in their country from 0 to 28%, and then backtracking 10 days later going, no, that was an absolutely terrible idea, because I'm pretty sure they got thousands, if not tens of thousands of letters and emails and strongly worded somethings that said, no, don't do that or we're leaving your country. And a huge portion of their GDP would have gone along with it. Same exact thing with Germany, recently announcing or re-announcing that they have a 0% tax rate after 1 year of holding your crypto. And what's the other thing that they have? Also, staking also has a 0% tax on it as well. Why would you, unless everyone else plans on doing that, I do not assume that Germany and or Portugal are going to be changing their laws anytime soon. Inflation is here with us to stay. This isn't going to be remember in the mid 2020 when it was simply a transitory thing. It was going to be something that would come and go over the next couple of months, and we kept on seeing over and over that the things that we were buying in the supermarket were 99 cents, and then suddenly they were $2.49. It's going to be with us probably forever until fiat actually collapses. This is the beginning of the beginning, if you will, for the scenarios that we've been hearing all these economists screaming about on television since around 2005, 2006, 2007 market collapse, and then around 2010 talking about something is not right. Everyone looked at them like they were completely insane because the stock market is going back up. What do you mean everything? Everyone's making money. Of course things are completely right. So, as inflation has risen, and even my non-crypto friends I mean, really, they have no crypto, have realized that things have risen in value. A lot of them have actually come to me in the last couple of months. I told you this before about the other girl who was asking and telling me that she had to tell her brother. I forgot what the exact story was. But people are asking, where should I be putting my money? A lot of people, a lot of countries have zero or negative interest rates right now, meaning if you have your money in the bank is actually taking some from you as opposed to giving you some on a monthly or yearly basis. There is no positive yield anymore. It is now negative. People are realizing this and also realizing the effects of going to the supermarket, and your supermarket trip has tripled. It does a lot on the mind. So people are looking for places to actually put their money. They even say the European regulator said that they've been looking into the metrics, and the metrics don't look too good because more and more people keep on getting into crypto, despite what many governments around the world have been desperately trying to do to de-incentivize people from actually getting into the market. Very fascinating time to be in any market, I think, as these are all, let's be honest with ourselves, these are all gigantic experiments. Crypto is a gigantic experiment to see if we can create a market that has some type of a shield against the rise in inflation, the rise in money printing, and so on and so forth. And even if you've ever, I know it's not the most exciting thing in the entire world, if you ever look back at videos of former economic generals, managers, regulators from the 70s, 80s, and 90s and their economic positions and what they did, what they told other governments to do, and these were kind of the laws and things that we were based on as the years went on. These people now, if you look at interviews with them, I mean like recent interviews, last 2-3 years, and they talk about their former economic policies, they kind of shrug and they go, we didn't know what we were doing. We tried to figure out a solution. We saw that markets were going down. We figured out something. We put a Band-Aid on top of it. It luckily worked until it broke, until the next person got it. It's terrifying to think that these people have really no idea what they're doing. If you ever try and find that. I have no idea which keywords to give you. But there was a video where they were showing, try and find the people who were the head of the Federal Reserve between 2007, 8, 9, and 10. And them having a recent interview talking about when they realized that the entire stock market, we were literally, on the actual verge of going to zero. Not a joke. They knew, and they could tell based off of the metrics, that the entire stock market was going to crash, but they knew that this economic disaster would take about 20 or 30 years to actually recover from. So people sat in a room and basically threw out ideas. And one of the ideas was, we should print more money. Why should we print more money? Because we can do that, and the more that we print, we can throw into the markets. If we throw more into the markets will begin to go back up. It won't look as bad as it did, and it worked. But part of the problem was that a number of economists sat there and told them, this is not going to be good, because once you turn on the faucet, you can't turn it off. Imagine being able to go to your faucet every single day and getting a cup of water for 12 years, and then one day you go there and 3 drips come out. You'd be a little upset. The next day it's 2 drips. The next day it's 1 drip. You go, where's my water? And this is what I think a lot of the market is going to be experiencing over the next couple of months. All right, that's all the price news, at least for right now. The cryptocurrency market is down a tiny bit. Stock market futures are already in red. Use that as a gauge, if you will, for where the cryptocurrency market could potentially go. Today is June 1st. We've been talking about this. The Federal Reserve is getting ready to quantitatively tighten their policy, and inflation is still here and not going away. Yeah, that's all the price news. And without further ado, let's move on. In some of the most popular news of the day, Fidelity Investments subsidiary, Fidelity Digital Assets, plans to double its team as it expands to cryptocurrencies beyond Bitcoin. The company witnessed rising demand for cryptocurrencies amid market volatility. The plan comes after Fidelity Investments in April announced offering a Bitcoin investment option in a 401k retirement account. I'm sure you remember me clamoring over how amazing that was. Fidelity Digital Assets president Top Yesup, his first name is Top, announced hiring 110 tech employees, including engineers, developers, and blockchain experts, reports the Wall Street Journal on the 31st of May. Moreover, the company will be recruiting 100 customer service professionals to enhance support. Fidelity Digital Assets aims to offer custody and trading services for other cryptocurrencies, including Ether. The subsidiary launched in 2018 for Bitcoin storing, securing, and trading. So the main news is, and I mean this is kind of the mega headline everywhere, is that Fidelity has dived deeper into the cryptocurrency space. They have announced that they are going to be custodying Ethereum as well. But the other news for me was that they said other cryptocurrencies, but there's no list as to what other cryptocurrencies. It's simply just Ether being announced everywhere, which we could have guessed a very long time ago, as Ethereum is the second largest crypto and has been for 8 years, almost 9 years at this point. Very popular news, not the most exciting thing on the branch. That's not a saying, but it sounds correct. So cool. We will eventually see other companies doing the exact same thing as Fidelity. It's just that Fidelity has a very big leg up on it. And I assume that the timing of them announcing the entire Ethereum custody thing has to do with that. Apparently, we are 8 to 12 weeks away from the upgrade. I know that keeps changing, so yeah, I assume that's why they are announcing it now, to get people to go to them before the actual upgrade takes place. That's the Fidelity news. Yeah, this was I only have 2 tabs open. It was very, very popular. I think it's because it's just simply Fidelity. And a lot of people were surprised in the beginning that they were getting into crypto, and it's like, don't be. I'm telling you, every rich person is into crypto in some sort of way. They're all holding huge amounts of it. It's just completely logical. All right. Let's move on. Also in news that's meant to be good, but it's actually a little bit creepy news, the government of South Korea has announced it will start investing in Metaverse projects directly. More than $177 million will be invested to kickstart national jobs and companies in the field. This is according to statements made by Lim Hye-suk, Minister of Science and Information and Communications Technologies. South Korea is one of the first countries to put funds into this field. I believe it's them, Dubai. I think Japan also announced a national Metaverse fund. And I think there was maybe one other place, but there are very, very few right now. While more venture capital firms and companies are actively investing in the future of the metaverse, some nations are also preparing to invest in this new area to secure the future. South Korea is one of them, having recently announced it's going to invest directly in companies and initiatives related to the metaverse. The investment will be around $177 million. It was announced by the Minister of Science and Information. He stated that the metaverse is an uncharted digital continent with indefinite potential, showing the possibilities the South Korean government saw in this new technology. So I'm going to back up and tell you exactly what this really is. It's a lot of governments are going to begin to announce that they have their own digital cryptocurrency, metaverse, NFT investment funds. The idea is a lot of them will begin announcing this, as the other ones have already done. This is being done to create new jobs, to create a better space, to make sure that we're at the forefront of all these things. The last part isn't not true. Isn't not true? Is true. They're trying to be at the forefront of it because of one simple reason. Governments dropped the ball, missed the ball rolled right past them. When it came to cryptocurrencies, many governments also, a lot of people don't know this, a lot of countries also almost did not integrate the internet. They did not think it was going to be important. They saw it as a literal passing fad. You can find documents. There's so many countries. I think France was also one of them, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've read and what I've seen in documentaries before. There were a number of countries who were like, we don't really need the internet. the sending emails is very, very slow. Sending this takes a very long time. I have to sign in to do this. I have to blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really seem that necessary. So we'll continue sending letters. We'll continue using the radio because the internet doesn't offer anything better for us. And the idea was, I told you this before, there was another article that said, imagine if any country had not invested in or integrated the internet. We would look at them like they were literal cavemen, being like, what is wrong with you? Did you not see what was coming? The same exact thing happened with cryptocurrencies, but part of the problem for governments is that they did not invest in or accumulate, that we know of, or see the potential in Bitcoin, or even something as simple, air quotes, as Tether. The idea of being able to mimic a currency in a digital form on a computer with an algorithm was something that they did not think of. A lot of countries have come forward already talking about, here we go, the dangers of the metaverse. I believe the UAE was one of the main places who were discussing that they need protections. Remember you must remember this. I laughed about it a couple of weeks ago, where there was some country who was talking about that they needed to hire, what was it? Like security forces inside the metaverse, or people basically spying on other people in these areas, which is terrible. Why would you, the idea of the metaverse, at least for me, is a digital place that is not Earth, where you can basically do as you choose. You can do as you wish, because you essentially will not be hurting anyone because you are digital. There will be, as far as I understand it, no pain, if you get my drift. Not digging too deep into it, but you kind of understand what I'm saying. So the idea is that governments, once again, are going to begin to announce more of these funds where they're investing directly in these companies who are in it, so that the government can officially say, I have a stake in, and therefore have a say in what is going to be happening in each of these metaverses. It's something extremely dystopian, but it's also another way that they're trying to gain control. Understand, governments have forever, literally forever, controlled our world. They have always said what we can and cannot do, what goes and what does not go. Now imagine a digital world where people spend, imagine how much time you spend on your phone, you and all your friends spend on your phone. What if that gets translated into time inside of a metaverse, where governments have no control? They can't see what you're doing or what you're saying. That's why the idea of Facebook making their own metaverse is absolutely terrible, because they will know what you're doing, who you're talking to, what you're talking about, what you're buying, what you're interested in at 24 hours a day. They will have complete knowledge of who you are. And even the algorithm, I'm sure many of you forgot this news, the algorithm that they're creating will be able to kind of change around you based on your interest. If you are sitting in a room and one day you like apples, and they see that you're buying stuff that's orange, and you like orange this and you like orange that, the room will be able to change to basically keep you there forever, to maintain as much time on that platform as they see fit. And this is why governments are investing into all these things. A lot of times, once again, you're going to see that it's going to be announced as a way to create new jobs, way to create so-and-so. These jobs will be creating themselves. Jobs on the internet created themselves by themselves. Somebody created eBay, and tens of thousands of millions of people were like, oh, I have stuff to sell in my house. And there are tons of professional eBay sellers. Somebody created Amazon, and they were like, I'm going to start to sell books. I'm going to start to make books. I create stuff all the time. I have a little shed in the back. I'm going to start buying some stuff and then reselling it on Amazon. You don't need the government to actually help to create these jobs. These jobs will create themselves organically. All of this has to do with control, and I think it's one of the weirdest and scariest things in the entire world, because so much money on the outside, not from governments, is going into these projects to make these worlds incredibly entertaining, real, basically the new place where you're going to be spending a lot of your time. But the idea of you need guards or spies inside of these places to see what you're going to be doing is, in my opinion, just going to push people more into a hyper decentralized ecosystem of metaverses. You will, of course, have people who don't care and, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, so it's totally fine. But then think about this now. All of your data is already being collected. Everything you do, everything you see, everything you buy, everything you literally almost touch, everywhere you go, everywhere you eat. Now imagine your only respite being you going home and putting on a headset and going into this world. Now imagine you going into Facebook's world and everything you do there is also collected. It's something that people need to look out for. It's not that I don't think that this is great for them to have, to create new jobs in the field or in the space, but we all know exactly what this is for. This isn't every single time, and it took me years to learn this in my life. Every time that a government has announced that they're doing something for the good of the people, it's always for the good of the people in the government building. Always. It's always been the exact same. So let's look forward to other governments announcing their other metaverse funds in an effort to say, no, we're doing this to create jobs. I'm sure. I'm totally sure. But the bright side is the harder they push, the more the crypto industry will push back with actual decentralized metaverses, because I think the craziest thing will be now. Here's the Black Mirror scenario. Imagine you go into a metaverse. You're hanging out, having fun with your friends, doing as you wish. You are digital you. And you do something that is considered wrong in the country that you live in, but in that metaverse. And I know a lot of you are like, uh-oh. You come out of that metaverse and everything you've done has been recorded. And they knew that you did said activity. And for some reason, your government has a law that says all digital activity is akin to physical activity, i.e. if you push someone down as you're walking down the digital street or whatever you're thinking of, that. And then you end up getting in trouble for it. You all know that's going to be a thing in about 40 years, right? So anyway, didn't mean to spend too much time on this, but always keep an eye out for news like this. It's never as rosy as it actually seems. Yeah, that's the government's getting into the metaverse news, because why would they need to do that? And yeah, let's move on. Also in extremely popular news, Prada's latest foray has emphasized the utility-based interactions between NFTs and physical items. Renowned luxury brand Prada is expanding its presence into Web3 with the upcoming launch of a new NFT collection. It will correspond to a series of physical items that have been on sale since December 2019. Moving on. According to the company's website, the 100 Ethereum-based NFTs are a corresponding supplement to the physical Prada time capsule, a series of fashionable black or white shirts launched back in 2019. The physical project, including 100 gender-neutral shirts designed in collaboration with artist Cassius Hurst, who is son of Damien Hurst, will link directly to the about-to-be airdropped NFTs. Right, so Prada has announced that they are also into Web3 and the cryptocurrency space and are launching their own NFT collection. Yesterday, we had news from Gucci. The day before that, we had Balenciaga. And the day before that, we had Louis Vuitton. We also have Adidas, and we also have Nike. And I think there's one other one, I don't remember, who announced that they were doing something digital on a runway or something or other. So and then we also had Balmain 3 or 4 days ago as well. So who are we missing? I think that's nearly every luxury fashion brand. You got Prada, Gucci, Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton, Gucci. We don't have Burberry. We don't have running low on names. We're missing about, I think, 2 or 3 other high-end luxury brands joining the space, and I assume they're going to do so tomorrow because it's been every single day at this point. Cool, wonderful. I don't know if this really is exciting news for a lot of people out there, but yeah, I mean, what more is there to really say? I told you everyone's into crypto. So, there isn't anyone who is rich who is not into crypto. All right. Let's move on. Also in news, a new luxury apartment complex in the upscale neighborhood of Belgrano in Buenos Aires Argentina, will become the first of its kind to feature a Bitcoin mining facility to help its residents get paid to live in their apartments. Per the media outlet La Nación, as well as interesting engineering, the new building will be named Pampa 2.0, a reference to the Pampas, the fertile lowlands area that incorporates the Argentinian capital. The project's developers claimed that it was going to invest between $10 million to $15 million in the venture, which will be operated by the MCL Architecture Studio. Pampa 2.0 will have 9 floors, 32 apartments, as well as a restaurant on the ground floor. That is bougie. But the building will also be equipped with between 5 and 10 machines that mine cryptocurrencies. The contract has also been sealed with a company, 5 to 10. With $15 million, you can buy about 150 different machines. But I digress. Company that is in charge of operating the machines, and which will take an undisclosed percentage of the coins in exchange. So, maybe it's me. Maybe I grew up in more of a paranoid world. Cool that they're doing this. Wonderful. I think it's futuristic of them, as it says the word futuro right here. Amazing. However, in a world where, hear me out, in a world where Bitcoin at some point in the future, maybe potentially, ends up going to $1 million per coin, this usually means that fiat currencies have collapsed. I tried to do a boom sound. It didn't work out. Collapsed. In that scenario, the minds of people have opened gigantically as they realize that there were only 21 million Bitcoin for them to acquire. At that point, they go, well, my paper money has no value. What does have value? Oh, it's that thing Bitcoin that all the mega rich people own. I wish I could get some of that. See, once again, this is literally where my mind goes, because the idea of having a Bitcoin mining facility in my building, have you not heard the stories of people already getting jacked when Bitcoin was at 24,000? There was that guy in New York whose friends took him out for a good time. He went home. They beat him like he stole something, and then they took his computers. So anyway, while I think this is very futuristic, I would hope that this is in the basement of the basement of the basement's basement, about 5 levels down, that cannot be accessed without multiple keys. Because if this isn't like the center of the building or on the ground floor, it's a little bit too much for my mind to deal with. Once again, I may just have come from a world, I'm from the States for those of you who didn't know, where things like this are kind of a no-no. That's kind of like, imagine you live in a building. You live in like a 15-story building, and on the ground floor, like that's where your safe is. Like by the entrance to the building, it just doesn't equate to my mind. So, I don't know how to end this story except for being like, I hope that this is not what I think it is, because people, let's be completely honest with ourselves. But I'm pretty sure more of these are going to be popping up, and I just wish them the best of luck, because, people. All right, let's move on. I know I'm not the only one who thinks this. I cannot be the only one who's thinking this exact same thing. When you heard me say there's a luxury apartment complex who's going to have a Bitcoin mining area in their building, I wasn't the only one who thought that, right? I was? Oh, geez, Louise. No, I'm joking. I know at least 80% were like, whoa, that sounds ridiculous. But, the future and all that. All right, let's move on. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. GBU Wally, Bubble Mode, How's Life Austin, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, Blockchain Simplified, and let's move on. Empire Queen, Roman Gaba, Bitcoin, Ben Arachno, Dave, Tony Ambroski, The Dealer, Zen, Captain Something in the Z-Way, Lay, Mobarazi, VB Nerd 21, Miguel Grelay, Lord De Silva, Quarter Biddy, I got it right. Troy Allgood, Space Case, Nita Miracle, Patrick Austin, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman High XRP, Martin Stoyo, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cody 3D, Setsuna, Richie Rich III, Paxis, Nick Manj, Yelavodi, Jim Garner, Jimmy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Bodemic, Boatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger, Macho, Nisa, All Crypto with Lionel, and Crayola Michelle URL. I do thank you for your continued support of the channel. I do thank everyone who left a like, who left a comment, who has subscribed, everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links. Thank you. Like, really, thank you. At the moment, Bitcoin is currently up by 0.13%. You see the little movement around here. We are plateauing-esque. We are still up by 6% in the last 7 days, which is nice to see, I will not lie. Ethereum is down by 1.79%. I think the market is pricing in what they are expecting the rest of the world's markets to do once they actually open. So, yes, anything crazy? Cardano's still up by 17% in the last 7 days. Nice to see. I don't think there's any real trend breakers at the moment. Some elevator music. KuCoin is up by 4. Theta's up by 2.7. Yeah, everyone's waiting for the markets to open. Alrighty. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Do hope it's absolutely fantastic. I hope your June 1st ends up being spectacular. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.